What's going on, guys? Today we have a couple big updates for the Nova. First, I kind of want to start off by saying that we ordered some things for the Nova that are going to be awesome, and I want to tell you guys about those. So the specific kit that I ordered had to be put together by the manufacturer, so I'm unsure of when it'll actually be in here, but the parts have been ordered to get this thing converted to EFI. So I ended up going with Phytech EFI. It is a 800 horsepower unit. It's capable with nitrous applications, E85. You can run regular gas through it. You can run whatever you want through it. So since I already have an ignition box that's going to go in this car, I didn't think it was really necessary to get a unit that would control ignition timing. So that's why I went with the 800 horsepower unit that does not control timing. This car will never see nitrous, but the kit is compatible with nitrous if you wanted to try it. But let me explain why I got this system. So basically right now I'm paying a crazy amount of money to run this on a very high octane fuel, which is like $9 a gallon. Like depending on where you get it, it can be even more expensive than that. But at the pump here locally to me, it's about $9 a gallon. The most local pump that I can get it at is about an hour away. The alternative was to run it on E85, which of course is way cheaper. It will also support a higher compression engine like this one. So E85 is obviously the better option, but an E85 carburetor is like $900 and some for a decent one. And of course prices can go up from there. But this EFI system is compatible with E85 and multiple other fuels, and it's about the same price. The EFI system, I can just put it on any engine that goes in here, whether it's big block, small block, I can put it on all of them, and it'll support up to 800 horsepower. So if I wanted to eventually big block swap this or whatever, the EFI system can easily just be transferred over and support a completely different engine. The E85 carburetor would be good for probably only running E85 through it because it does require more fuel, 30% more fuel. So if you converted it back to regular gasoline, there's a possibility that you could have issues with flooding and all that other stuff. Basically, I was just wanting the ability to convert back and forth whenever I wanted, and this system is going to do that for me. So obviously with EFI systems, they require more fuel pressure to support the throttle body. So I had to get an in-tank fuel pump, and we're gonna have to do a fuel cell build and everything. So there's gonna be a lot of videos on this whole install. The in-tank pump is also compatible with the 85 and all other kinds of gasoline. It will support up to 1,000 horsepower. All right, so first of all, there's some things that we have to do in order to get to the point of where we're ready to put this whole system in here. And obviously we're waiting for shipping to come. So we have plenty of time to get this work done. So I'm gonna show you what we got left and then we'll go from there. All right, so as you can see, and will probably be completed in this video, is the quarter panel install. I rebuilt the wheel arch right there, and that came out pretty good. So I'm just going to put the new quarter on. I gotta do a lot of trimming still. I'm also having to do some patchwork down here because it's so rusted out, but we're gonna treat everything for rust. We'll also have to knock out rocker panel on this side, which that'll probably be on a separate video. But we do have to get this quarter panel installed before we move on and do the bed liner in the back of the trunk. Once this whole thing is closed up, then we'll be able to apply our bed liner in there. But from there, we'll be able to build our fuel cell, put the fuel cell in there, route our fuel lines up to the front, and then we'll have a super solid car in the back. So please keep in mind where we started here with this car, and I encourage you to go back and look at kind of the starting point in the earlier video. I think it was one of the first videos I posted on the channel. This was a super rough car, so we are working with what we were given, and we're just trying to make the best of it. So we're also gonna finish off that little bottom corner I was talking about where the rust is all built up, and we're gonna try to get this quarter panel put in there today. All right, so I've got all this stuff chopped out, and I have good metal down here to weld to now. So I had to do a little patch around the corner, and everything's looking pretty good. So everything's fitting, and now we're just going to try to trim this into place. As you can see, I cut just outside of the line that I made, and then that way I can go through and really fine tune it with a grinder and grind back some of the metal. That way it's a perfect fit whenever I go to weld it. But as you can see, we got some pretty clean metal to weld to, so we're just gonna keep working away and see if we can finish this. right, so I've got this tack welded in place, and I'm just gonna do the monotonous process of just butt weld, butt weld, butt weld all the way down, and then you grind them all down, do the same thing, and then you just keep working it until it looks like one smooth surface. So I didn't want to bore you with that on camera because I do have another video with the driver's side where I did all that on camera, so you can check that out if you want to. But this will complete this side once it's all welded in. The bottom is not welded to the flange here, so when this all gets pulled down, it'll all look nice and smooth. So where all these welds are sitting at right now, that'll all be filled up with body filler. So right now, where the welds are, there's a little bit of a valley, like a little dip, and that's where we're gonna put our body filler. It's not crazy thick at all, but a thin little layer of body filler through there will completely hide all these, protect them from rust. So as far as the next steps go, pretty much we're going to get all this welded in, at least this top part here, and then we're gonna have to do the rocker panel down there like I was telling you about, and I can't weld this side in until that rocker panel is there. So that's why that is still free flapping around too. So, but this lines up perfectly. I think it's gonna look perfect. So off camera, I will finish all the welding and the body filler and stuff like that. And then we will go on the inside of the trunk to do the bed liner, and then we have a fuel cell build. We got to do like the fuel pump in there. We might even have to do like some special kind of foam because we're gonna run E85 possibly. So I'm still considering all these things. On top of that, all of the wiring in this car is pretty rough. It's very bad. So we're going to relocate the battery back here to the trunk, and from there we're going to wire everything. So we're gonna rip every wire out of this entire car, redo everything, starting from a little fuse panel, and then we're just gonna wire the entire thing from scratch. So that's the same thing I did on the truck, and it turned out great. So we're gonna do the same thing for this, and that way we know that all the wires are fresh. We're not going to have any like fire hazards or anything like that. All right, so there will be a video on every step of this process, all the way from the battery relocation and all the wiring to the fuel tank and the EFI unit. The whole thing is gonna be there. And it's gonna be completely raw footage. So like all the tuning issues and stuff like that that I have, I'm just going to show them and share the experience. I'm hoping for no issues because I've researched and I think that I know exactly what I'm doing, but that's how every video starts. So anyways, I'm gonna finish up on this side. That way on the next video, we can move on with all the cool stuff and get this thing to where it's actually running and dependable and hopefully pretty fast. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you have any input on, like if you've got experience with the Phytech EFI stuff and you wanna leave your experience, I'd love to hear from you. Also, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe. The channel has been growing like crazy. I appreciate that. And until the next video, I will see you guys later.